Hello everyone. In this video I want to dive deeper into the Van Hemert system, my fretboard system, which I introduced in the last video. And I will do that by analyzing a solo I recently played in one of my videos on the standard groove and high. And I'm talking about this solo. So the purpose of this video is to expand on the last video in which I explain my personal system of mapping the fretboard, something I call the Van Hemert system. I give workshops with that topic regularly, so if you ever see one near you, please come. And I thought it would be nice for this video to show you some of the lines and how they relate to my system and my thought process, stuff like that. So let's just start from the top. The first two bars I'm just playing the theme, that's not important, but in bar 3 and 4 I'm playing this line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Alright, so the chord is A minor 7, D7, and I'm playing. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm ignoring the A minor, because I remember that when I played this solo I said before I played it that I'm going to play the first chorus, and we're talking about the first chorus, thinking about functions, so simplifying the chords. And then the second chorus, which I'm not going to talk about in this video, I was going to play more like a chord scale player, so thinking about certain sounds that would outline each exact chord. If you want to see that video, by the way, check out the Groove and High video that is also linked in the description, and then you can see me play this solo, but you can also hear me talk about it. Not in this detail, but talk about concepts. So this line is a line that goes over D7 sharp 9. Right, that's the shape I'm thinking. And my anchor point, which relates to my system, is this sharp 9 on the B string, right? So I have many lines. If I think about D7 altered, let's start there. It's all around this sharp 9 on the B string. So this particular phrase is a lick that I transcribed from Stoffel Rosenberg many times, I think. He plays it often, and it's a very nice. What I like about it is that you get the third and the sharp 9 in different octaves, just like the chord. It's actually, you're just playing these 3 notes. So that's the third and fourth bar. Now we're on the 5th bar. By the way, if you want to, there's no tab on the screen, but if you want to read along with the transcription, you can download the PDF from my Patreon. But even without it, you can just follow along because I'm explaining the lines. So the bar 5 and 6, I'm playing this line, 3, 4, 1. This is just a line for a major chord. In this case, it's E flat major, and I'm searching for the 5th on the low E string. So this is the 5th position of E flat, right? Around the 5th. And then this line, which is basically based around the E flat major 7 arpeggio. And I'm using Stochler's fingering here. Like Stochler uses Django fingering with two fingers. But you could play it like this too. Right, with 3 fingers. But I just got used to the 2-finger thing. That's the basis, but then there are some embellishments. Then for the G minor C7, I'm again ignoring the G minor and playing this line. So that would be a line for C7 altered. And I'm playing it from the 7th position of C7, right? Because I'm on the 7th. And this line comes exactly from my video called Gypsy Jazz Loops. It will be linked in the description. And it's basically a descending... I mean, if you want a name of that scale, would be the C Phrygian dominant scale. But I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking about this fingering, which I've played thousands of times. So how that works is I start from the 5th position of E flat, and I don't have a plan yet for the C7. I'm just playing that line. And now I know C7 is coming, and my hand is there. And then at first I think I was thinking, let's play the 1st position of C7. And I could have played this thing, which is also from my loops video. But at the last moment, I decide to shift down to the 7th position. So what it creates is this very cool chromatic. But I'm not thinking about chromatics at all. I'm thinking about connecting these lines. So again, starting from 5th position of E flat, moving my hand up to the 1st position of C7, then deciding to go to the 7th position with a passing note. And I land on this E, which would be still in the 7th position of C7, right? And then when I land on that E, I decide that I'm gonna play this line. And that's just a lick I've practiced on every dominant chord. And it's just a famous kind of Charlie Parker bebop thing. When you are on the 3rd of a dominant chord, you can go up to the flat 9. But in this case, I just go to the flat 9 immediately. Resolve to F major. So when I'm here, I'm there, right? And I can do two things. I could resolve immediately to F, but that's resolving to the root. That's kind of lame, so I would rarely do that. I could go down, or what I did here, I see, at the moment I have this E, I hear and see this thing. And that's just a reflex, which you can train by playing this phrase, or every time, well, I mean, when you're practicing, you play a song and you play this phrase everywhere, right? You're playing all of me, and then you're just gonna play this phrase everywhere. So like E7, A7, D minor, E7, A minor, D7, B7, G7. So every time I'm saying that dominant chord, I'm thinking about the 3rd, just moving my 3rd finger to the 3rd on the A string and playing that phrase. That's all there's to it. And once you've done that a million times, you start to recognize where they are related to chords. So when I'm playing this line, I'm hitting this E, and then I'm just playing that phrase. It's not planned, but I see my hand go down, I see the E light up on my guitar neck, almost like that, and then I know, okay, when I hit that E, I can play that phrase. That's how it's happening, right? It's not I'm not planning that thing very far in advance, it's just at the last moment. And that's what jazz improvisation mainly is. You make decisions at the last moment possible, and if you've practiced enough, you have good lines to play. So continue. We have this F minor 7, B flat 7. I play this line 3, 4. That is a Charlie Parker lick I transcribed. I don't know which song, probably Fine and Dandy. He ends it differently, but. And again, how that goes is before I play this. And probably because I was planning to play something on F minor, in 5th position, right? Because it's F minor, B flat 7, and I could think only B flat 7 if I want to, or I could think only F minor. In this case, I'm going to F minor, and I'm seeing 5th position right here, and I'm probably have this lick already in mind, and then I just play some notes before, some chromatic notes, which you could call an enclosure, but you could play this kind of embellishment with every chord tone, right? To go to the 3rd, or to the root. It's just a nice. So again, when I'm thinking about positions, I don't have to start on that note. I can play other notes around it and then land on it. This is what I did. Then this Charter Parker phrase. Now we're on G minor 7, F sharp minor 7, F minor 7, B flat 7, as you can see in the chart. And in that video, I explained that what you can do is you can outline all the chords, right? You could play, okay, G minor 7, F sharp minor 7, F minor 7. You could play this chromatic thing, and I think I do that in the 2nd chorus. But in the 1st chorus, I'm thinking the functions, and G minor is the 3rd degree, and the 3rd degree is just a substitute for 1. So I'm actually thinking E flat. Then F sharp minor 7 is a chromatic chord to F minor 7, so it's something that resolves to F minor. What resolves to F minor? C7. So I'm thinking E flat, C7, and then 2, 5. So the line I play is a line for E flat major. But so this is kind of, it almost sounds like I'm going to play again E flat major 7 arpeggio. But at the last moment I decide to stay here because I want to play again the same kind of phrase on C7, right? So F sharp minor 7, but I'm thinking C7. I played this phrase before, right? Going from the 3rd to the 9, flat 9, but now I'm playing some notes in between. And then I play a kind of weird phrase before, just to fill time, so I can be on this E on the 1 on C7. So I wouldn't say that's the best line I ever played. But that happens when you make last minute decisions. You start, or sometimes you make, not the wrong decision, but it could have been better. Maybe I could have played something like, it would be better. Or even better with a triplet. That would be better, you know? So that would be something for me to notice now. Like next time when I end here on E flat, the G, and I want to go to the E for C7, I could play this other thing. Okay, so on the F sharp minor 7, I'm thinking C7, I'm playing. And then I'm playing. That is just a bebop phrase that I transcribed once, and I have no idea by who. Sounds like something a piano player would do. Maybe Bud Powell. So, if you could analyze it and think, oh wow, so he's playing A flat major, 9, and then he's playing to the flat 9 on B flat, but you know what, I'm not thinking that. I'm just playing this lick that I transcribed. And it kind of comes naturally after this. And I had made a whole video about playing lines after this, because it comes from this shape, right? F minor. I made a whole video about that. I will link it. And I'm talking about playing 2-5-1 starting with this shape. Right? You had things like, or, and I talk about that you could start on the 9 instead of the root. So you start. So I'm still thinking this shape, but I'm starting here. So that this phrase is exactly in that video. So now we're second half of the song, and I'm playing. again, on E flat I'm playing something that comes from this E flat major 7 arpeggio, but I start halfway. So that's interesting because for D7 I'm ending my hand here and I think, okay, I have two options. Let's say I'm playing E flat major 7. Now on D7 I'm in the 7th position of D7, so I could play my same line that I just played on C7. I could do that would be fine, or I could move up to the 1st position of D7. And that's what I do. So I do the opposite of what I did on the C7 before, right? I ended on the 1st position, I went down to the 7th. Now I end on the 7th and I go up to the 1st. I didn't plan it, it's just something that happened because I was listening and looking at the neck, and I just saw these possibilities, and I just figured it would be nice, and it is nice. So here I'm playing a line exactly from my loops video. It's a line that I play a lot on altered chords from the 1st position. So this is the 1st position of D7. Again, if you don't understand with the position thing, watch the last video. And if you want a transcription of the solo, it's on my Patreon. So I'm thinking D7 altered. I'm kind of thinking D7 altered to G minor, right? That's a trick I use for these kind of progressions where you have D7 to E flat, right? Where you have a dominant chord on the 7th degree, because it is a substitution for E flat diminished. I talk about that in the Groove and High video, so go watch that. But so I play this. I'm thinking to G minor, and the moment I'm on E flat, I go back to E flat and I play this thing. That is something I practiced on every 3rd of a major chord. You could do it actually also on a dominant chord, I think. Yeah, you could do it, but it's stronger on an E flat 6 or E flat major 7. That's a typical Charlie Parker phrase with a couple of enclosures. So I practiced it on starting on every 3rd of a major chord, on both starting on the A and the E string, right? Because most of my lines, they start on either the low E, the high A, the low E, the A, or the high E, and sometimes the B. That's what happens here, right? I play this line. So I'm on this G on E flat, and because I've trained that Parker phrase, I just play it. I see and hear it. So that's the point. By repeating those lines all the time, the point is that at one moment you start hearing it, like a logical conclusion of your line, and then you also know where it is on the guitar, and you can see the possibilities at the particular place your hand is. That's how I work, right? I don't try to play this phrase all around the neck. I mean, let's say I just try to play from every G possible. I don't do that. It's just only the low 2 strings. So I have to end my line there. And that's just by accident. I don't plan it. It happened here. And then we go to G minor C7. Again, I'm only thinking about the C7. So I'm in the 3rd position. I start my line in the 3rd position of C. And I want to go down altered. So I have a couple of options. I could stay here. Right, that would be an altered scale, or kind of an altered scale. I could go down with a Phrygian dominant. But I decide for some reason to go back to the 1st position of C and play this altered phrase. I bet if I would have stayed, I would have gotten the same notes. I would have, but I didn't, and I don't know why. That's just a decision I made at the last moment to go down. But the advantage is, maybe that's why I did it, now I can play this typical Stochelo diminished lick on F7. You start on the root, and then you go to the 3rd, and then you play diminished. That's what I do. And if I would have stayed, I could have done it too. And I could have gone even higher, maybe with triplets, would have maybe even been nicer. But because I did it like this, I can play this thing on F7. So what do I do? I go up with a diminished arpeggio, and then I see, oh wait a minute, I can play this augmented thing from the B. Would be a G augmented or E flat augmented or B augmented, it's all the same. Because I know that's something that is very nice to play on a dominant chord on the second degree of a song. That's something just I train myself to hear. So the song is in E flat. So on F7, it's nice to play this. Of course, you could start on a B or an E, E flat, on a G. So let's say I would have stayed here. I could have done it too. But it would have been less handy. So probably I wouldn't have gone for that. But because I was a little bit lower on the neck, I did it. And in the video I do everything with downstrokes. I play, which would be like a real gypsy jazz guitar player. But I could imagine that if you're not a gypsy jazz picker, that you would play an upstroke somewhere. Something like that. Feels very unnatural for me, but of course you can do that. And then I play this lick on F minor 7, B flat 7, 3, 4, 1. Sorry, 3, 4, 1. So that's a 2, 5, 1 to E flats. 3, 4, 1. That is just a lick I transcribed. Sounds like maybe something I transcribed from a Dutch guitar player called Martijn van Ittersen. I bet he doesn't play it in this position though, because I've never seen him play a major 7 arpeggio like this, because it starts with an A flat major 7, right? From my favorite position, right? Remember the E flat major? Same. But now I start here. Why do I play A flat major 7? Because I've trained myself, or I trained myself to play an A flat major 7 on an F minor. So every time I want to play the 2 of a 2, 5, 1, I think a third higher and then play an E flat major, a major 7 arpeggio. So if we have C minor 7, I think E flat major. If we have E flat minor 7, I'm thinking G flat major 7. Right? Last example. B major 7, B minor 7. I'm thinking D major 7. So here it's F minor 7. So I'm thinking A flat major 7. And I have a whole bag of licks that starts like this on 2, 5, 1s. So I'm not thinking about these particular notes. It's just a lick that I have on my fingers. I could have also played, there would be a Uva Kenya thing, or I could have played some bluesy thing, or maybe could have played, would be Charlie Parker kind of phrase. So I played this phrase, and I resolved to E flat, and that's because I made a mistake on the backing track. I played E flat here, but originally it should be F minor 7. So let's say I would have had to play F minor 7, then I would have not resolved to E flat, and then I would have played maybe something like. So go back to A flat major 7. Right, and then the next bar is A flat minor 7, D flat 7. And I talk about that in the video. It's basically a substitution for A flat minor 6. And A flat minor 6 in E flat is a substitution for B flat altered sus, like this chord. Right, it's A flat minor with the B flat and bass. So you get this sound, F minor. And because B flat minor sus, B flat sus flat 9 is very close to B flat altered, you could think B flat altered on this A flat minor 6, especially when the chord is that short. And that's basically what I do. I think B flat altered, and I play a diminished arpeggio starting on the A flat. And for diminished arpeggios, I just trained myself to play diminished from every chord tone of a dominant chord except the root. Instead of root, I do the flat 9. So if I have C7, I train myself to play diminished from the D flat, the flat 9, from the E, that's the 3rd, from the G, that's the 5th, and from the B flat, that's the 7th. Right now the chord is, in my head, the chord is B flat altered, so I can play it from the 7, which is the A flat. I could have also started with the first finger. I use Tochler's fingerings. If you want to know more about diminished fingerings, I made a video about diminished, so check that, it's linked in the description. So I play, and then I resolve to E flat, and I play one of my favorite E flat. It's one of my favorite major 7 phrases. I practice that in all keys. It's very easy because you start on the root, so from the first position of the chord with the 2nd finger, and then you just it falls very nicely under the fingers. This would be B flat major 7. G. I like going up with the major 7 arpeggio. And then go down with this phrase. And for E flat. So that's how I think about my solo. So realize that I'm not coming up with all these great lines on the fly, right? These are lines that I've practiced in some form. I just embellish them on the fly and I connect them on the fly, and I try to connect them in different ways every time so that I'm not playing the same connections, which basically means for me in my system that I'm connecting the same 2 positions of a chord. I remember what I did, or I try to remember what I did in last course and not do the same thing again. And because I don't practice my lines in every position has its own identity. And I will sound very different if I play from first position E flat, which would be here, let's say 5th position E flat, to 5th position D. I could play something like, I would sound very different if I play from 3rd position E flat to 3rd position D. Then I would maybe play something like, right, or let's say from 1st position E flat to 1st position D7. Right, I have many different possibilities in every position, but they're all different. That was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. And again, if you want access to a PDF of this solo, check out my Patreon, link in the description. I will see you in the next video. Bye!